Hi, I'm Mickelle Weber, founder and auteur of House of Peregrine. Expat, immigrant, pioneer, none of these were a fit, but Peregrine describes what we are all about perfectly. Those that craft their life story with intention. I've spent the last 6 years in awe of the life-changing connections and stories I have experienced while living abroad, and believe it is time for this adventure to be recognized, celebrated, and elevated to the life stage that it is. Through these interviews, I hope to connect those living internationally more deeply to both the place they are living and with themselves and those around them. We cover everything from international finances and meaning-making to global parenting and relationships to make your time abroad more intentional, edifying, and full of beauty. Find us at houseofperegrine.com, where you can find more ways to connect with the ethos of Peregrine. I hope you enjoy today's guest. Let's get started. Welcome back to the House of Peregrine podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have you ever had that feeling that maybe life could be slower, sweeter, and more grounded? That somewhere across borders or oceans, there might be a place that offers more freedom? My guest today knows that feeling well, and she's built her life and business around helping others follow that call. Eva Fassbender supports people who are ready to make the leap to Italy as a place to truly live and be free. With a background in business strategy and a passion for intentional living, Eva guides soon-to-be expats through the emotional and practical side of relocation, finding clarity, making smart decisions, and building a sustainable life in a place that inspires them. She also runs the Sardinian, a travel company that curates meaningful holidays and custom trips to the beautiful island of Sardinia. In this conversation, we talk about the dream of moving abroad, heritage, and what it really takes to make that dream your reality. From designing a life that reflects your values to navigating the risks, rhythms, and revelations of starting fresh, Eva brings honesty, structure, and a beautiful dose of possibility. If Italy is calling your name, or if you've ever wondered what it takes to answer that kind of call, I think you'll find a kindred spirit in Eva. I hope you enjoy today's podcast. Eva, welcome, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to start out because the part of the story that I really love, that I think maybe you don't get to tell as often, is your story of how you came to live in Sardinia. So I always ask people the question, like, when did you know you wanted to live in a different country? And so maybe start there and take us through your wild journey.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's actually true that people often at the first glance don't get really to ask me why I'm here, because they are maybe more interested in coming themselves. And then at the second or third conversation, sometimes they wonder about that. And it's also very nice for me because it's a story that is very emotional, and also I didn't get to choose Sardinia, but Sardinia kind of chose me, as I was 3 years ago on a travel to find in Italy to find my long lost family. So basically, my mom, when she was a child, her dad left Germany to come back to Italy, to Naples. And the family is from there. And so 50 years later, I found myself in Naples, in that place, to look for him, just with a kind of cartolina, which is like a small postcard from this time, where there was a poem in Italian to my nonna from him, and a photo which was super old. So these two things, and I went to the place. It was empty. It was no body, basically.
Right, but back up. So where did you find this postcard? Like, you can't just start there in the middle of the movie. Like, you found this postcard. Did you find it? Was it given to you?
It was given to me, yeah. So
Okay.
basically, my nonna, my grandma, she still had it from back then, and so I basically asked her. I already knew this story from all my life, but it was never so present, so clear to me. Also, as being the grandchild, I think there's a different kind of thing. You
So
don't grow up with a.
It was like a question you were always it was part of your family's history, but it kind of stayed with you, this question. Like, did it not make sense? Did you wonder about it? Were you sad about it? What was the experience?
Yeah, so I wondered about it, but even more, my mom, I think, always had like this, let's say, wandering, I guess, not so active as she would have gone there herself. Also, I think there's a lot of emotional things connected with that, right? So you maybe wonder about it, but you're also scared to find something that might not be as you would have wished for, right? And so I basically decided to go there and find out whatever is there, and if someone would, I don't know, lock the door in my face or something like this, it wouldn't have hit me so hard, you know?
Yeah. So you were kind of doing also for your mom.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
more for her than for myself, actually.
Wow. And so you kind of grew up with this clue to who the other part of your family might be. And so you followed it. Like that's very brave. How many cousins and sisters and brothers do you have that didn't do that?
I have one brother who didn't do it. I think that I always have been so much more connected to Italy. I traveled a lot there, especially in the south. I love the south. I've
I
been a
see.
lot to Puglia, Campania, also Naples a couple of times before. And then at this point, I decided to, okay, now I have to check this out.
Yeah,
And
nice.
the journey was incredible because in the end, I ended up in Lazio, close to Rome, actually. So in a completely different place because also my family, my Italian family, they moved. They didn't stay in Naples,
So
and so yeah,
you already grew up as a multicultural kid because it sounds like your
a little
mom's
bit,
Italian.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my mom is half Italian though, and I mean we were growing up always with this background, but never active. So basically, no,
Yeah.
not speaking Italian,
Really? So your mom's half Italian, but you grew up speaking which language?
German, because I
German.
grew up in Germany.
In
Exactly.
Germany, yeah.
Yeah.
My kids are growing up in the Netherlands speaking English at home, so I never assume.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And my partner and I are both American. It can be anything. So I always love to hear the languages they have running through their lives. So thank you for going over that because I think it's actually remarkable that you had the story, you take this, and was it a plan was it a plan you had or was it something that you kind of did on impulse?
It was more an impulse. This was really like booking a flight and going.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah.
you see how
Was
brave that
something.
is? That's not everyone would do that.
No, 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 for sure. I think not everyone would do that. I think that it's the best way to do it because maybe you wonder for 10 years about this, not really actively, but somewhere in the back of your mind, and you think like, okay, I don't have the time. I don't like always in life, right? Maybe I don't want to even know about it really, and so you wonder a little bit. And so if you have like a small push, I also had this mini push from the outside, let's say, someone that was asking about it. And so I was, okay, you know what? Let's do it now, immediately, this weekend. No flight back, and just see how far we go. Yeah, yeah. It was like this, like a movie.
That's I love that. So this
Mm-mm.
mini push from destiny called, I guess, is a way to
Yeah,
put it. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I'm glad we didn't miss that part of the story because that's actually I hope your grandkids hear this story. Anyway,
Me
so
too.
you find yourself in Italy with the postcard and that's it. What happens then?
So basically, I went to the comune, which is like the where this is the central part of the village where I was in the periferia of Naples. It's a small place, a little bit in the outside. And I went to this. I didn't have an appointment or anything. They were about to close, and I said like, "Hey guys." So in my broken Italian, right? Because I learned a little bit of Italian before, but it was not all fluent. Okay. So I was starting to ask if they could open again for me, and I had this postcard in my hand. I was trying to explain the thing, and they saw the postcard. And as you can imagine, an Italian guy from a small village seeing this thing from the 50s, it was like, okay, what is that? Yeah, and so they got involved in this, like also emotionally. He let me in again, and then everyone there, all the three people that worked in this place, stayed for the afternoon, trying to figure out this thing with me. There was also a contact from a grand aunt, that I have who still lives there. They called her because they know her personally, and she refused. She said, like, no, I might know about this thing, but I don't want to have anything to do with it. So this was the first pushback. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
no, no, okay, maybe this was not a good idea. But then in the end of this afternoon, because you know that you cannot just give someone this kind of information, right? So even in a small place in South Italy, it's a little bit, there is some kind of data security, let's say, data
Yeah.
protection
Yeah.
that they try to keep. But yeah, well, in the end, I had like a small piece of paper where there was all the addresses of my aunts and uncles in Latina.
Wow. So that was the first pushback. But do you see how, I mean, some would say crazy it is to just go and then you got in. Like these are stories that people write about for generations. You understand.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
so then tell us what happens.
So basically, from there, I took a car and I went north there to Latina and tried to find the address. I had three addresses in total. I decided to go to the one that was the furthest away from the other two, which were together kind of in the same street. It was a strategic decision because I thought, like, okay, if someone is not happy to see me for whatever reason, because you never know who you encounter, my heart was pumping as crazy. And yeah, I jumped out of the car and just rang the bell. And there was a very nice lady opening the door with two dogs and two girls, actually. And she was explaining to me that she's the wife of my uncle, and that she's going to tell him about me. And in this moment, I mean, I don't remember everything, but I remembered that it was very important for me to tell her immediately in any way. Like I was reading the deep L before, right? Like, okay, what do I want to say? What do I want to say? Keep it in mind, keep it in mind. And I wanted to say that I will stay in the area for the next couple of days, whatever happens. So if they want to contact me, this is my number and there's no strings attached, nothing. I would just be hang around basically. And if they want me, I will be there. This is what I wanted to get across. And yeah, this was the moment basically. I have a
Wow.
photo of this.
And so then you made contact, but then you needed to wait for them to, because this has come out of the blue for them. They might have even known about you or more about you, or maybe it was just something in the family, but you didn't know. But so they're having to grapple with you showing up on their doorstep.
Exactly.
So you were actually taking a huge leap of faith to then wait. So you waited for a few days, and what happened?
Yeah, I waited a few days. I was all over the place, really. I was trying to keep it together, but I really was hoping deeply that they would reach out. And when they reached out, I was so happy just to have this chance to see my uncle and the family, to meet them. And they invited me very casually for a pasta on Sunday. Yeah, really a simple thing. I went there. It's like almost like a farmhouse, and yeah, they welcomed me into their home, and we had a pasta together, like with red sauce. Very very simple thing, but super nice, and I was very happy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And did you know that you didn't know if you were going to make that connection, but you did. So that was your first you went to Italy finding who part of your mom was, right? And then what happened? So you got to know them a little bit, and then what? Then what was your next move?
So it was a little bit more complicated than I was hoping for. This moment there, I understood that the brothers and sisters were a little bit in a dispute about things that happened a long time ago. So they were not talking to each other, which was more difficult because also they were talking not with each other in another language. And so basically,
Yeah.
in this moment, what I had to do was in this moment, I was trying to figure out how can I get to know the other ones without offending the third, let's say. But they were very kind, were very understanding, and they were bringing me to the other part of the family. And in this moment, there was another emotional breakdown of my two cousins, the two young girls. They, for the first time in 5 years, I think, could talk to her grandma, which is my Italian grandma, when she was on the phone because she was not physically there. She was in Sardinia, which is the crazy full circle story
Yeah.
at this time. But my aunt called her, and these girls started to cry, and she started to cry, and then I started to cry. And basically, everyone that was there in this table started to cry. And yeah, we kind of reunited over that, I guess.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
You know, I don't know if I'm sure you've heard of this, but this is what a lot of people refer to as like a cycle breaker. So you basically physically broke a cycle of silence between the women in
Between
your
also
family.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
between them too. Yeah. So that's probably not what you were intending to do, but that's what happened.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you
Yeah.
never know. You cannot prepare it. I think that people who have these kind of stories, they can relate deeply to that. You kind of are in a constant mode of, okay, everything can happen now. There can pop up someone that you wouldn't expect there. Someone could be very angry with you, very disappointed, or something like that. And you are just it's very stressful also emotionally.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you're taking a massive risk, but it then took you on the rest of your journey to where you are today, which, so you were in Sardinia, or you were in, so,
I was
not Sofia,
there. I was in Lazio, which is
yeah, Lazio.
close to
Okay.
Rome.
And so then that must have changed your life. Did it make you want to take more risks? Did it make you want to travel more? This experience of reconnecting with your family, what did it set off in you?
So that basically led me to, I mean, obviously I wanted my family to participate in this, right? Because basically there was me, that satellite that did something more or less independently, no matter what. And there was a part of me that was left behind in Germany. And this was the real thing that I wanted to do. For Christmas, I waited a couple of months and I gave a present to my mom for the next day of Christmas morning, which was flying to Rome and going to Latina to see them. And so this is what I did. And there is a big tradition where everyone comes together in the first day of Christmas, all the family to come together to eat. They didn't know that we were coming, and I brought my mom there. This was the next step.
Wow. So she didn't know until then that you had found part of her family?
She knew it. I was calling her. So in that moment when we all started to cry, basically I called her,
Okay.
and she was on the phone. But as you can imagine, it was a little messy. It was a language barrier, incredibly difficult to communicate. And so when she was there, this was really incredible because there was also my Italian grandma there in this moment. She came back from Sardinia to pass Christmas. And yeah, so
Wow.
this was the real unification.
Wow. This is like, yeah, so beautiful. So beautiful that you had the courage to do that. And yeah, I'm glad that it worked out. It doesn't always work out that way, but it's incredible that it worked out and you were able to make that connection. And so what I want to know is, did it change your plans? Because I know what the next chapter is, traveling. You decided to travel.
Exactly. So after a little bit, it was almost 1 year later, I went on a travel to South America. I was going from Mexico to Guatemala to Colombia, and in Colombia, I met a Sardo, which is a person of Sardinia, a Sardinian guy who was there for vacation. And it was very interesting because we met in a bar with a lot of people around us, and we were talking, and he said like, I'm from Sardinia. And I said like, oh wow, so I'm gonna be in Sardinia next summer because my family, they have houses there since forever, and I reunited them just lately, and so we're gonna meet there, everyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that
And so
started, what did that start off, meeting this guy in this bar?
So actually, he was first of all he was blown away by this story. Italians, I think, is even more an emotional topic because there are these stories sometimes because a lot of Italians in this time go went for work in other countries, especially also in Germany. And he was so touched by this small poem on the postcard. He was like, "Can you send it to me? So I don't care. You don't have to give me your number. I will delete it immediately, but just send me this photo of the postcard." And I said
Wow.
like, yeah, sure. And yeah, so this started like a big romance. And in the end, I wanted to go in Argentina, but I lost my flight and I went to Sardinia.
What did the poem say? Can you tell us what it translates to?
The poem said, translated like in the way that I would do it in English because it's a little bit lyrical. The sun of this place looks like your eyes that I will always remember until the rest of my life.
Wow. And say it. Can you say it in Italian? I don't know if you speak enough to like. Can you say it in Italian as well? Because we have Italian listeners.
I can say it in Italian, but I just have to because word by word. Just 1 second. But ti ricordo per sempre.
Nice.
And then Pasquale was my nonno.
Oh, cute. And do we now know the story of why he never came back?
No, actually, there is no real story about that. So we couldn't really figure out. He was what I understood from my family is that he was a private person, let's say, not so not so outspoken, not so communicative, maybe. And this was a kind of a family myth. It was something that was there, but that was not talked about so much. So I could never really understand why he never came back, why he was never looking for my mom. Yeah. And also, I think it's a little bit difficult for them to answer that.
Yeah, of course. You can't answer for other people's reasons.
Exactly.
But what we do know is it started your own love story.
This is for sure. And so from this moment, basically, when I came here in Sardinia, I did let's say a test run, like often people do when they go to new places. I rented an Airbnb, which was beautiful for 1 month. This was my try period. And in this month, I got to know the island very well because, I mean, I've been here before. It was 10 years before that I was in the north of Sardinia and I was never in the south. I discovered that part and I got to know a bunch of super nice people. I was welcomed into open arms. It was an incredible time. I love to remember these moments. Yeah, I enjoyed myself a lot.
So this was the beginning of your love story with your partner and also the beginning of your love story with this place.
Exactly.
Amazing. And so as you were settling, as you were thinking about, do I love this place and having this romantic beginning, what were the questions you were asking? Or tell me that story, because you say you weren't planning on moving to Italy. That was not your plan. This was not anything to do with, this was not like part of your 5-year plan or something.
No.
And so how did you square that by letting yourself kind of be, seduced or romanticized by these things? Like what was your process? If there was one, there doesn't have to be a process, by the way.
So yeah, I think that I wanted to, I was curious because I was always all my life curious about Italy and I knew that there was something, right, since forever. And it was not that it was never an option for me. I didn't actively think about it, but if someone would have asked me like, hey, you can live here in my apartment for a year, for sure, I would have gone to Rome, but also to anywhere, any place in the south. And my work allowed it. And so I was very, let's say I had a warm, easy landing. And that started exactly that process to fall in love with this place. I think that for everyone that is coming to a different place, doesn't matter how far it is, you have to adapt, right? So you learn a lot of things, but Sardinia makes it very easy for you. And I have to say that the thing that made this process as smooth as possible were the people. Everyone was so kind of me. I had this great connector which is my boyfriend who introduced me to everyone, was the best thing, because people were kind of having my number from him, calling me, asking me out, like, hey, you want to come for a coffee? You want to come for an aperitivo? And a place like this enables that. You can go to the mare for a passeggiata. You can walk a little bit together. You can drink something together, have fun. Here, it's really true. Like when you're sitting alone in a bar, people ask you, why are you alone?
It's not normal to be alone at a bar.
I mean, maybe it is, but people would recognize.
Yeah. And that made you decide you wanted to stay long term.
Yeah.
Luckily, also maybe with your boyfriend, but also with the place.
Exactly. I was really, after this month, I was thinking like, hey, if this is going nowhere, it doesn't matter for me, because this place is so amazing that I'm going to stay here.
Oh, wow. That's a big deal to stay no matter where your relationship goes, because that's often where couples get in trouble, right? They're somewhere for someone, and then the relationship is the only thing holding them in that place. That can breed a lot of resentment and problems. And so it's really nice you had that assurance that you were also falling in love with the place, which helps that that's your mother's half Italian, like that. The story keeps coming back that you're following your mother, right? You're following her other half of her heritage. So that's really cool. So then you decided to stay. What happens next?
So what happened next? I mean, in the end, we really did it. Let's say we made the circle complete in a way in summer. Now it was summer 2 years ago when we all met in Alghero, which is in the north, is where my family has houses. We had a family reunion, let's say. And then there was also my boyfriend, which was from here. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So everyone met.
This was the next.
And was that healing in a lot of ways for your family? For your mom?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's amazing.
Something.
So everyone came to your grandmother.
Exactly. So to the Italian grandmother, yeah. That was in that moment there. She spends like the summer month in Sardinia and the winter month in the mainland.
Wow, cool. And so now you've realized that this is actually a place where other people might want to come. What made you start wanting to help others do something similar? Maybe not find their family from a romantic postcard, but there is something romantic about moving to another country. And there is a process of being seduced by a place or being open to living in a place. So how did you learn that that was a passion you had?
So I think that when you move to another place, you understand the beauty about it. And if you feel so welcomed, for sure many people can relate to that have the same process, that you want to kind of give this generosity to someone else too. It's something like a shift in your mind, I think, when you get to experience this kind of welcoming and opening community that gives you all the heart, that you kind of want to spread this joy.
Yeah. I tell the story. I don't know if I've ever told it on the podcast, but when I moved to the Netherlands, we were coming for just a year, and I had 3 little kids under 5, and I had reached out via to people, and someone said, oh, I have someone who lives in Amsterdam, but they're moving to Zurich. And I was like, oh, we're going to miss them. They're like, yeah, but you can stay in their apartment. They said you could stay in their apartment while you find a place. So I've never still met these people, but they let me with 3 kids stay in their house for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks, while I found a house. Again, you only understand throwing yourself across the ocean and doing these crazy things if you understand it. And that act of generosity carried me through my first year. Just knowing that someone would let me live in their house. And actually, we ended up hiring their nanny and their cleaner and everyone that helped us through our first year from that one act of generosity. They didn't ask us to pay rent. They were doing their own move. They had their own things going on. They had 2 babies. So it's just this, what you describe changes lives. This act of just this generosity, or like you said, opening your heart. I just think it's part of the magic of people. And it's on full display when you move abroad, I think, or when you're considering a new place. And so that's really cool. So now You've decided to make a life in Sardinia. That's what you're doing. And now you're helping others do the same. So tell me, you've written an article recently about freedom and how you can truly be free in Sardinia. Tell me the sales pitch, if you will. I hate the word sales pitch, but what do you tell people who are considering moving there?
So not so long ago, then here, when we already had the blog around Sardinia, we were helping already companies to organize retreats here, vacations, right? Not long after, I started to share my insights about relocating, about living here, and about my own strategies. How do I set up my tax system? How do I apply for residency here? How do I manage things and what I'm looking into? Also sharing the opportunities, because what I saw myself a lot, that first of all, lots of the information were in Italian. And so there was a huge lag, and there's a lot of misleading information, not updated information around these topics. I started to share that, and from there, one of my posts on LinkedIn kind of exploded. It was a post which described a strategy for retiring rich. And the twist around it was like, retire rich in freedom and in time. This was, let's say, the starting point from this chapter.
Yeah. And what does that mean? Because we know now, at least I'm from the US, and so there's a lot of people having this conversation, maybe other places too, that you can retire, or you can have midlife retirement as well. You don't need to be in your 60s or 70s like you are in the US when you retire, or I don't know how it is in Germany. Do you retire at a certain age, right?
More or less, exactly.
Yeah. And so, but we know now that people are taking breaks when they have children to retire before they return to full-time work, or they're finding different strategies. Like you said, they're coming up with different values. And so you're suggesting that part of your wealth is also being rich in freedom and time. And so explain this, because this is a really beautiful notion that I think people are really thinking about right now, obviously, because your article went viral.
So, yeah, in my opinion, people are looking maybe in the first place for what kind of incentives there are, what benefits could I have from living in another place. This is why there are a lot of offerings around that, not only in Italy, but in Spain and other places where regions offer you a certain amount of money if you renovate an old place and all of these kind of things. But what really pulls them in is the person, someone who is there, like a friend, someone who gives you a hand. And I think that if you are thinking about to move, let's say, from a busy place, I myself moved from Berlin, so the change couldn't be more drastic.
Yep.
So especially when you're looking, let's not say retiring for retirement, but looking for the rest of your life or for the next chapter, then the combination of the beneficial part and increasing life quality come together. And this is why it got so much attention, because it combined these two ideas of you can be wealthy in a way that is maybe more sustainable. You can increase your life quality without being actually rich, but using the opportunities that are there, using the system that you might thought was broken or not working, but that parts, using them strategically to build your own freedom. This was, I think,
Yeah. So build your own freedom, build the idea of what you want your look like. Because what is rich? No one knows what rich is. And sometimes we get lost in trying to become safe by working all the time or by running all the time. And just stopping to consider what you want your life to look like can really make a massive difference. And so how did you determine that Sardinia was the place you could do that? We see all the time online, at least I do, €1 houses in Italy or France or castles for sale. And this, I think there's even a Netflix movie or series about this. And then there's the blue zones, like all these things are coming out to try and show us there's other places, other ways of living, at least again on Netflix. That's not the whole world, but a lot of the world. But what are the things that we're not thinking of? What are the things that you see that really make the difference in people's lives so they can be rich in time?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think this is very individual. For everyone that is something else, but there is this common dream to be in a place that you enjoy, maybe not because it's offering you a lot of activities, but it's offering you the things that matter to you. So matching you and what you are looking to build, the life that you're looking to build, with a region or a place, this is the thing in the end. So I understood that matching the person to a place can be a very complex thing, because people sometimes expect something different, find themselves in a place that they thought was nice, but there were missing like the crucial factors, as I said, for example, the connector. So the freedom is what you define it to be. If the freedom is going to the beach every morning, drinking an espresso, then this is your kind of freedom. It is my idea.
Yeah.
Surrounded by nature.
So what are people missing if they take that opportunity and think it's all going to be fine? What are you seeing people, the mistakes they're making, or the mistakes or the dream they have in their head that's not the reality?
So I think actually you hear these stories a lot. People jump on a plane and go, right? I didn't myself hear these stories personally so much. I mean, maybe once or twice, yeah, but more from afar. So either it's because people now are a little bit more prepared because they have more access to information about it, or if they are really serious, they ask ChatGPT, what do I do first? And maybe this is a little bit more a conservative answer for what it was before, or what you can find on the internet from the first 3 hits on Google. So maybe it's for this. But as I said, for me, there are not so many stories that go completely south where you say, okay, this was a very bad idea. What people are missing sometimes is that they have to adapt. I think this is something that you hear a lot, right? And also for me, I don't have to say it. So also for me, not everything was super easy and super fast. And I also had to adapt to cultural things, to language, to habits of people here. And you are finding a community, if you are able to find a community that is open to that, which is interesting because Sardinia is an island. You wouldn't expect people to be so welcoming, but they are. If you are looking for a place, try to go there and try to understand how people are.
And if you want to be around that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see yourself being surrounded by people who love to eat all day, people who care a lot about elderly, about children, people who maybe spend like 15 minutes in the cash desk. This is something that you will sooner or later deal with if you live there.
Yeah. And that's something you love, right? And that, again, in New York City, spending 15 minutes at the cash register would never fly. That's not the value of the people there. It's more transactional. It's less about that. Or if you're in even Amsterdam, it wouldn't be that way. Or maybe even in Berlin, it wouldn't be that way. But something in you was craving that, or found that you really loved it, which is really beautiful. And so when people are thinking of moving to Sardinia and they contact you, having an espresso by the beach and being surrounded by nature, that's an amazing way of describing it. What are some other things that you tell people, like some of the things they might not know about Sardinia that they would gain as part of their life? I got the people, I got the eating.
Exactly, the people and the eating. I think what people might, or misconceptions that they might have, is it's not accessible. So because it is true there are 3 airports here, the major one is in Cagliari where I live, and they think like, okay, I don't know, how can I come home, or to my parents, my family abroad? How can I deal with my job because I have to travel a lot? This is something I think that people, let's say, a very crucial point for someone moving here that comes from a different context. So they are surprised by that, or I try to be transparent also around it, because in the winter month the connections are a little bit less. In the summer month you can go everywhere. You can go directly to London, to Barcelona, you can go to Berlin. or to Düsseldorf, or where my family is, and obviously all the bigger cities of the mainland for sure. So yeah, it's an island, but it's connected also with the ferry. If you want, you can come with the car. It's a little bit longer, and I personally don't do it, but you can. And then there is a misconception, I think, around people that are maybe not necessarily in Europe, but further, that Sardinia is very chic, because there's the Costa Smeralda, which is in the north. And I saw a beautiful illustration the other day. It showed the island, and then it said, like, what people know about Sardinia. And it was highlighted the Costa Smeralda with the yachts and the rich people and the villas and, upper streets, everything that is attached to this kind of lifestyle, which might be lived there sometimes in certain areas or for certain people. But all of the rest of the map showed like the island, which is not promoted like crazy maybe. And this is, I think, very revealing.
Yeah. So do you feel like it's like a little bit hidden, that you can kind of be this, we say, down to earth, like really heart, like people who love to, community minded? This is kind of hidden. It's not highlighted as much.
Yeah, I think that the incredible nature here, if you Google Sardinia now, you're going to see beaches. And it's true. It has beautiful beaches. One of the, in my opinion, is the best sea that you can find here in Europe. It's one of the best for sure. You can still find empty beaches in the off season, especially. But you have also mountains, and you mentioned longevity. You have people here a lot that are like 100 or older.
Wow.
You have amazing food. You have so many possibilities. And for me, Cagliari especially, because I'm a city girl, and I couldn't sacrifice this, but I find everything here. And so this is the thing. This is what
That's
made
amazing.
me say also.
Yeah. And so now you're in love with this place, and you just kind of want to show it off and bring people there if they want to be there. Why shouldn't someone come to Sardinia? Like, if they're considering a move there, what's incompatible? So they don't want to maybe change. They don't want to take into account the place. Are there any other things that you're like, nah, stay off my island, it's fine?
Yeah. So if you are a really big city hustler and you love the hustle culture, I think this is completely wrong for you, right? So if you are very, very driven by lots of activities and you want to move all the time, you want to take flights every weekend somewhere and explore everything. I do that too. I travel also far, twice a year if I can, and also do some city trips during the year. But if you need constant input in it, I think that the trend is going in another way. But there are for sure people that can honestly say they need this kind of lifestyle. Then I would not recommend to come here.
Yeah. And why do you think the trend's going this way? Do you think people have realized that there's other kinds, like you said, of ways of living, ways of thriving, ways of counting wealth?
I think that people are just fed up with that. If I look at myself, if I look in the mirror, I see that I was enjoying this for a certain kind of period. Now, I mean, I'm 33 and I'm also looking into the future, and I want to build something for myself that I really like and that is mine. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And I'm dreaming of this farm. I have this farm dream. I think you kind of have to choose between the beach and the farm, but if there would be some farm which is not so far from the beach, this is my thing.
And you see yourself being able to live that dream there, which is really
Exactly.
important. Yeah.
And the place enables it. It's the people and the place. And if these factors pull you in, you're in.
Yeah, nice. That's really beautiful. And the life that maybe you were living before, like you said, was for a season, and maybe even for part of our cultures, it was for a season. And now it's kind of moving out of this season of striving and hardness into maybe a more attuned, we're learning that human bodies even like more slowness, more softness, or more attunement with nature, as evidenced by all these people living so long, these things we're seeing. What do you think people can gain from even just considering a move? Do you help them go around the island and imagine a life there so that they can make an informed decision?
Yeah, so me personally, I don't take them by the hand and walk with them, but I give them, I'm more the first touch point, let's say. I try to give them orientation and connection. And this is really what I do. And this is the real value I think that I provide in that others don't, let's say that, to tell you honestly from my own experience, hey, this is the situation, this is what you have to know, and those are the people that can help you. And these are experts, because I cannot buy a house for them, I cannot consult them in their tax setup, but I can tell him who is going to do that.
So you're their first contact.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a network of people that you refer them to so that they can make decisions like buying a house or finances, taxes, all these things. Because you do need a network. And we say that all the time with House of Peregrine is you need to build your network. And there isn't the government, no one's going to provide you with this network.
Yeah,
You have to a little bit build it yourself. And so that's kind of the value you're bringing, is providing access to this network of others who can help you with the very specific things you'll need for moving to Sardinia. And so,
yeah.
Why do you think that network is missing around the world? I have this question all the time. Is it because we're doing something new, or is it because why?
Yeah, I think that has never been like really institutionalized, let's say, because it's hard also for me to measure or evaluate the value of network. And so there is not necessarily a business around it, in the way that if you want to make this your work, you have to find a way to monetize it, right? Like everyone. And so how do you value a number of a real estate expert that you provided to someone? This is the big question. And also for me, it feels very strange if I give someone an advice and charge for that. And so I think it's also for this that there's not so much maybe offering around it, or maybe this is why it's more difficult, because you have to draw the line kind of. Yeah, could be this.
Yeah, interesting. You just answered the question way more like I would have than I actually realized. So that's good. Yeah, finding value in it, even though it is so valuable, especially at certain key moments, to have that person. The first person I talked to that helped me land in the Netherlands with 3 little kids is one of my best friends now. She was my first contact, and now one of my best friends. And I don't think she made friends with everybody. She did, but I think that's how important this first contact person is. If they're in your life even for 10 days, they change your life. And I think that there's something really important about that person having a heartfelt connection to this process and to the place you're coming, so that they can actually give you a taste of what you're up for. And so when people are thinking of moving, you and I both did it in a much, like, I was not thoughtful. It was like getting the list of countries, narrowing it down. But when it came down to it, once we decided Amsterdam, we didn't decide Netherlands, we decided Amsterdam. We just went with like a month's notice and just came.
Wow.
And there are in some ways that needed to happen for me, but I always try and encourage people to don't be afraid of what you want. And that's what I see in your story. You weren't afraid of what you wanted. You were like, I want to know this. I'm going to go see where this postcard leads me. I'm going to go knock on that person's door. Oh, they don't want to see me? That's fine. I'll wait. That's a really, really beautiful way of going about the world. And not everyone has that courage. But what people do know is they want something different, and they want to explore different ways of living life, different places. And that's how you were a trailblazer. And so now you're helping other people to do that. And that's the person you want to have on your side, I think. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And so you're also doing a magazine, which we can briefly talk about, right? It's a magazine, the Sardinian.
Yeah, it's kind of an online blog / magazine. It's a curated collection of experiences that I did here myself that I enjoyed the most, but I didn't find them anywhere in the, let's say, in the big catalogs of other platforms. And maybe also I couldn't find them in English. And so I wanted to provide that information. I want to share it with the world, and I wanted to have others. So we have like a small map where we, time after time, put the places that we really enjoyed and refer them. And yeah, this is the Sardinian. It's called the Sardinian, and there we share
Nice.
our own experiences here.
So if someone's wanting to come check out living there, they can find that resource and then kind of just follow it and then maybe contact you, maybe see how things are going, or see
Exactly.
if they can maybe become connected with some people. And yeah, it's really nice. I mean, we all know how it feels to be in this position of wanting something different, but not knowing what it is. And so that it's such a beautiful process. And I'm really glad that you're helping people do it in Sardinia. You fell in love 3 times, found yourself 3 times in one country. I think it's such a magical story that I hope that you're, I know if you have kids or grandkids, they will be tell
this story.
Yeah, forever. So thank you for sharing it with us today. So if people want to reach out for more information about moving to Sardinia, where can they find you? Where's the best place to connect with you?
I think that right now, LinkedIn would be the best place. I think there you could get like a glimpse about my activity, my profile. You can subscribe to the newsletter, which is for free. And yeah, you can also check out the blog, the magazine, and also reach out there if you are interested in activities in Sardinia, want to organize a travel, or are looking to do a vacation. And yeah, we give you like our very personal experiences and help you.
Okay, so on LinkedIn, say your name. It's Eva Noelle. Say your name.
Fassbender.
Okay.
Eva Noelle Fassbender, exactly.
On LinkedIn. And then your website is?
It's thesardinian.com.
Perfect. And we'll link those below, as well as your article, Retire Rich in Freedom.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And thanks for sharing your story. And maybe we can share a picture of the postcard if you're up for it, so everyone can kind of see that. I think that would be really nice.
That's a very good idea. Yeah, I'm going to share it with you.
Okay, great. Thanks again. And thanks everyone for joining us for the House of Peregrine podcast. We will see you next week. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed our show. For the latest insights on living internationally, join us at houseofperegrine.com to find out how you can connect with our community. Let's craft our life story with intention together.